Hi there and welcome to the 10th workout in the 12 rows of Christmas time to Sleigh. Now this one's slightly different. As you can see, I'm not about to row because what I did yesterday was a half marathon row on the Exer app. Now don't worry, I'm not going to make you row a half marathon if you don't want to, but what I would suggest is you row kind of more than you've ever done before. Okay, so what I did was I broke it down into 10-minute chunks. So you basically row 10 minutes and that's all you're looking ahead for. And then I say like reset, wiggle your backside, whatever, and then let's look at the next 10 minutes. And that's really what you do. This is how you build up to something like a half marathon or a marathon. You break it into smaller chunks. So if you've only ever sat down and rowed for 20 minutes in total, then why not try and get 3 chunks through this row? Or even if you've done 40 or 50 minutes before, try and get up to an hour. And quite possibly for folks like that, you'll get to that hour and think, you know what, I probably do have another 3 or 4 chunks in me in order to get to the end of the half marathon. Now, I did mine in just under an hour and a half, but what I've done is I finished mine and then did a 2-minute cool down, but I've then tagged on an older workout back from this time last year for another half hour on the end to basically take this video up to 2 hours long for the people that might actually want to get through the full half marathon. And I kind of figured 2 hours, there's going to be some people out there that will take longer than 2 hours, I know, but 2 hours is hopefully going to be a ballpark that works for most. So you will get to a point where I finish, I do a cool down, and then there'll be a title card that pops up and says, can I keep on rowing? And then it'll give you like in 15 seconds, we're about to change. So I apologize for that. The intention was to carry on and just sit here and chat and talk for 2 hours, but actually by the end of it, my right butt cheek was in so much pain that I had to go and stretch. So anyway, here we go with the row. Good luck, make sure and just take your time through this one. It's a long time on the rowing machine, regardless of whether you're just going up to 30 minutes after 20 minutes. If this is longer than you've ever done before, just be very happy with your results, all right? Happy rowing. In fact, to tell you what, as rude as it is, I'm gonna take my wedding ring off. Just because you don't want to have anything there that's gonna cause blisters and things. Oh, Craig, I can't wait to get started. It's freezing here. Okay, remember there's a slight delay between Exer and YouTube, about 4 seconds, so make sure and look at Exer, not me, on YouTube for the start. Craig, that was a bit late saying that, wasn't it? Right, 6, 5, 4, good luck everybody, 3, 2, 1, and we're off. I hope, yes. All right, so here we go then. So get yourself just settled into the row. If you haven't done a warm-up, just be like me, just settle, find your pace, find your rhythm, start to let your body open. And for me, letting my body open is all about rocking forwards over my hips from the back of the stroke. Okay, if I can just think about having a good posture and tilting forwards, whoop, whoop, okay? So get to the back, sit up, tilt forwards. Everything else for me falls into place. Because your backwards recoil, it kind of takes care of itself. You don't have to think about it at all. You push with your legs, you end up, it's really hard to finish in a forwards tilt, put it that way. So if you can just think about that forwards tilt with straight arms as you're warming up. And then you can start to drill into stroke rate and power and pushing from the legs, but get that hinge backwards and forwards over the hips in place and you'll be golden. Now, just in case there was 1 or 2 people turning up late, the plan today is to break this half marathon down into 10-minute chunks. So we're only really looking ahead 10 minutes. And at the end of that 10 minutes, it's totally up to you what you do. You might want to mark it with 3 power strokes. You might want to have a drink. Get off your machine, have a wander around. In my case, what I'm aiming to do is just kind of have a bit of a wiggle of my backside. And just think again about technique. I've identified the sloppy parts of my technique. And so that's why I want to just make sure each time that I come back to the best of intentions, and then hope it doesn't slip too much over the course of that 10 minutes. Okay, so I'll try and avoid doing a 20-minute lecture on technique, but I will just kind of do a recap every 10 minutes. And the first one of them being, now that we're hopefully warmed up enough that you can think about positions and power, you can start to get that rhythm right. Arms come away, because remember, I start thinking about technique at the back of the stroke. I don't describe it from the catch, I talk about it from the finish. So you pull the handle into your chest, and then it taps off your chest, and you release it instantly. Even down to the low rates, let it come away and use the extra time you have in your stroke to get into the right position before you bend your knees. This is why low rate rowing is so good. You've got all the time in the world to get your body in position before you bend your knees. So arms away, and that momentum, you then sit up onto your sit bones. Woo. And then tilt forwards. So what you want is straight arms, good posture, forwards tilt before you bend your knees. Arms, body, legs. I really hope you've read that somewhere. If you've ever looked into technique for rowing, you should certainly have heard legs, body, arms when it comes to the drive phase. But hopefully you'll have stumbled across arms, body, legs for the recovery too. Because then you're in the perfect position to bend your knees and roll to the front of the machine until shins vertical. But by getting arms away and rocking forwards before you bend your knees, it means you're in the right position and you don't have to do anything else with your arms and back. And what that does is it helps prevent like dropping down, slumping into the front, diving into the catch, or dropping the handle too far and then lifting it up in the air and being all over the place. So roll into the front and then try as much as you can to turn it around from the front. So you slide in and then push your feet into the machine. Push the machine away from you with the fastest turnaround, or at least with the least amount of wasted time at the front. but making sure that as a result of that, you don't suddenly open your hips too soon, like racing to the back. Remember, it's not about pushing you to the back, it's about pushing the machine away from you. If you can think about the rowing stroke that way around, then you're more likely to keep your arms straight and that forwards tilt, and let your legs power first. There I am. I'm kind of stretching this technique chat out a little bit so that we can cross the first 10-minute chunk and I can stop talking technique for a while. Anyway, so push those legs, keeping arms straight and a forwards tilt. And then when your legs are about halfway done, that's when you swing your back. Especially as you feel your leg power start to fade. That's when you top up the power by swinging your back. And then as legs are really fading and your back's fading, that's when you finish by pull the handle into a finish. So you're pulling at the back, not at the front. So look down, and if you can see your elbows bending at the front, or basically, if you can see your elbows bending, you're pulling too soon. The point I see mine bending at the back, they're just in my peripheral vision. Okay, one more stroke and that's us hit our first 10 minutes. So maybe wiggle your backside, just reseat your seat, or a couple of power strokes. And then just think about that timing as you come forwards. Is Averon Int, I'm guessing is a French rower going by the flag. Seem to be holding quite nicely here as this group of Mike, Jerome, don't know who the Mohican is next to us. There's no name coming up yet. And we are already over 2.5K into the row, so time's flying. I mean, well, it is for me. That first 10 minutes totally flew by. In fact, I got this morning, got a really nice message from one of the RowAlongers, Steve, just kind of wishing Happy New Year. Which, if you've joined and you haven't heard me say it yet, then Happy New Year to everybody. Lang me your lumreek. But yeah, so he got in touch, but he also asked, just because I said in my kind of New Year's message, the Lang me your lumreek phrase, which is kind of old Scottish for long may your chimney smoke. Wishing you best of prosperity, basically. And he's kind of asking, it's like, how do you speak at home? Do you use phrases like that? Like what you actually like? And I guess I say, well, no. How you hear me speak is pretty much what I'm like. Maybe a bit more sweary. But I do tend to keep the F-bombs to myself. You don't need to hear me swearing when I'm talking about stuff. But I was also saying that the other thing is I'm not really that chatty, or at least I'm not, like, you know, when you go out with a group of friends and one of them's like the ringleader, the kind of alpha male or alpha female, is there such a thing? But that's so not me. I tend to just sit back, enjoy everyone else's conversation, and talk from time to time, unless I've had one or two too many beers. I don't drink that much, so. But yeah, so I was going to say, but then the moment you park me on a rowing machine, stick a camera on me, can't seem to shut up. I mean, it was before starting today. I was thinking, oh, hang on, you are going to be like online for 2 hours. What are you going to talk about? But I mean, I might have a few silent moments, but I'm sure going to come up with some kind of drivel. It's one of the reasons actually that rowing is kind of lends itself to this kind of style of video workout, because there is a lot to talk about when it comes to technique or training style, like how you use intensities and things. Because I made one bike workout as a test once, and it went well, nothing wrong with it, but I just found I was running out of stuff to say. Right, Ronnie, make sure, take it easy, unless you got a second wind. Just that's Ronnie to my right, there you go, R Downey. Yeah, so the bike thing, once you get past relaxed arms, good core, and a little bit of pedal discussion, there's not really much else you can say, whereas I don't know if you're a regular viewer of my RowAlongness or not, but oh boy, could I talk about technique. I could give you a half-hour seminar on how to hold the handle alone, which actually, while we're at it, just be careful with how you're holding the handle. We're coming up for 4K into this row, and although you might not be feeling any kind of pre-blister sensation, uncomfortable hands and blisters and stuff, it's kind of like dehydration. Once you start to feel your fingers start to go, it's too late. So I do recommend fingers hooked over the handle rather than a death grip. It's not only is that a more comfortable way to get the power into the handle, but it also aids with airflow which means that your hands aren't going to get as sweaty as quickly. And it's that sweat that really compounds the problem. But needless to say, I ain't sprinting this. So if your hands get really sweaty and moist, the problem is they get soft and basically just more prone to blistering. So a loose grip, fingers hooked over the handle, should preserve them for the row. But also, I like to play the piano as I come forwards. I like to kind of move my fingers, reset them almost. I find that makes them a bit more comfortable on the handle. Now I'm a big thumbs under guy rather than thumbs on top. I'm not sure why it is that a lot of people, their natural instinct is to put thumbs on top. Is there any like gym kit? I know there's like pull-ups, I guess, maybe. But anyway, thumbs under for me keeps all of my tendons and ligaments in a straight line, whereas thumbs on top kind of has a, again for me, a squiggle. It's not a straight line, and that's when I tend to get tennis elbow, especially from putting in power or longer rows. All right, one more stroke. And that's us 20 minutes down. So just wiggle your backside or have a drink or whatever you want to do to mark another 20 minutes. Just make sure my watch is still running. I'm kind of intrigued what the total calorie burn will be today, because it does look like 150 calories for every 10 minutes I'm rowing. So that's what, say I am 90 minutes. That's 1,300 calories, which is round about one spoonful of my mother-in-law's trifle. If you have been following some of my rows this Christmas, you may have heard me talk about Margaret's amazing trifle that she makes at Christmas. So nice. But it's only me and father-in-law Jim. Hello, sir. We're the only ones that eat it. And when I say he joins in, he has like one serving. But then I've got kind of like 4/5 of a trifle to make my way through. In fact, they donated to the Just Giving page and even made mention of the trifle, giving me the energy. But I mean, what row was it? Was it last Sunday's group row on here? Somebody had asked, was it Pam? Had asked about like what's the best way to approach
a half marathon. And I was kind of saying a bit about pacing, a bit about hydration, making sure that you're properly prepared well before the row, rather than trying to chase hydration during the row. Totally not listened to my own advice. I think today I've had 6 cups of coffee and about a quarter of this water bottle, and that's been my fluid intake. Some toast, peanut butter, banana, 2 poached eggs, and I think 5 chocolate biscuits. But truth be told, I've actually, well, I've been slightly forced into kind of backing off my training intensity ever since the December high rocks, and doing something rather persistent to my left foot. So I haven't been able to run, and even being on my feet for too long will result in lots of pain the next day. So I've only really been rowing or exercise bike. Unfortunately, the ski erg, I can manage that, possibly because of the kind of rising up onto your toes. Maybe that's stretching whatever has been damaged in my foot, but it means I've only really been doing 1 cardio session a day, and because I can't really move around much, I've not been doing any weights. And it's not just been the amazing mother-in-law related trifle that I've been hammering hard this Christmas. So actually, as welcomed as these, say, 1,400 calories will be, which will kind of translate to about half a pound of fat, they are going to be but a drop in the ocean for all the rubbish I have been eating. And I know part of the trigger to just taking my foot off the gas or the brakes or whatever is deciding that I'm not going to race in Amsterdam. Ordinarily, I'd be training hard, making sure I was as trim as possible for a race which is happening in, 3 weeks. But I've pulled out of it, so my next actual race isn't until Glasgow in March. So I could have got time, hopefully, to heal my heel, but also after this weekend, I am going to kind of, well, certainly I'll stop eating like food's going out of business, but I'll spend more time, I say at least 2 cardio sessions a day, because I'll film a workout, And I'll also row my morning 5K for the 5K Everyday series. I'm really hoping that a combination of getting calorie control in line and more cardio will hopefully help. But honestly, the food is the most important part. I've said many times that you can't out-train your fork, and definitely today or this weekend. What day is it? Friday. Okay, this past couple of days is just proof that if you don't keep the fridge door closed or the biscuits locked away, if you just ease off that, or you allow that voice in your head that says, come on man, have a biscuit. You are going to be rowing for 90 minutes later. Then he comes back and says, you can have another biscuit though, can't you? So it's like 400 calories just by eating 5 chocolate biscuits. So it really can add up. There's the small things like my poached eggs were on an English muffin, which is relatively healthy, but then adding in some Parma ham and some Peronese mayonnaise, that then takes that into more unhealthy. And toast with peanut butter, Nutella and a banana. All right then, one more stroke. And that's us at the end of the 3rd block. Well done. Great stuff. The field is spreading out a bit, but it's only because we're only getting the rear-facing view that it feels like me and Jerome are on our own, along with, is that Albert? Alfred? Not entirely sure if I know who A. Romano is, but hopefully you did whatever you planned to do. I am concentrating on the hands away and trying to get as quick a turnaround from the front of the machine as possible, because the longer you wait at the front, at the catch, the more time just drips away. The flywheel has more time to slow down, so feel heavier on the next stroke. But also, the more time there is for technique gremlins to enter. Especially in my case, my backside escapes from underneath me, and I do a little bit of a strange shoulder wobble if I hang around at the front of the machine for too long. Right, let's see if we can read this. Tech Toby sent a message. Hi all, go for it. Woo. Hope to join you again in the near future. Lower back pain, oh no. hope you feel a lot better. Watching you out of infrared cabin. Oh, that sounds nice. I actually got an email before Christmas from a company asking if I would like one of these personal saunas. The ones that's like a tent, tidy little cubicle that you sit in or stand in. And not one of the wooden ones, like a fabric thing. I did reply saying, oh, I'd love to, but I get quite a lot of companies, I think they see that I have almost 39,000 subscribers, and so can I get in touch to see if I want to test their kit. But I'd say for every 10 that gets in touch, only one of them works out, either because it's clearly a rubbish piece of kit, or they just realise that they're not quite going to get 39,000 hits out of the video. That said though, the video I made a few weeks back about the Merak rowing machine, oh, I just did my shoulder thing, stop it. So it's like the copycat of a Concept 2 in terms of design of what it looks like, but has its flaws. So they sent one to me to review, and I was pretty honest about it in that it feels stable. The stroke is similar to a Concept 2, but the monitor and how it works out drag factor or resistance is deeply flawed if you're ever entertaining racing on the machine. Anyway, so figured basically my summary was, if you're only using it for exercise, then it's a functional machine. If you care at all about data, save up for something else. Anyway, as a result of it, so there's a referral code that if people use, they can get 15% off it. And I also get a few pounds too. Ever since making that video, I think I've had 8 emails about people buying one. Which is, I don't know, I'm just surprised that people watched that video and came away from it going, yeah, all right. Maybe they don't care about data. Maybe they heard me say, yes, it's similar to a Concept 2 and click the buy button. But literally just today, I published a video about a cheap smartwatch. It's like a £60 smartwatch that, again, if you use a code, you get 18% off it. So it takes it to around about £40, £45. It's a nice enough watch, but again, flawed in that it doesn't broadcast Bluetooth. So you wouldn't be able to row with it and send your heart rate to Exa or the Concept 2 monitor. So it'll be interesting to see whether anyone buys them. It's nice to get sent things, but I did get, someone sent me a foldable water rower, and frankly it was rubbish, so I had to go through the process of what do I do with it now. Fortunately they don't sell it anymore. I did feel a bit guilty for a while about not publishing the video, but I think they took my advice. I could have went back to the design board. Ooh. Now where are we? A minute to go until the next change, and I'm nudging 10k now. So this is going well. Who's that coming up my outside? It's a big old boat you're rowing. Hey! How are you, sir? I think you messaged me the other day, didn't you? Sorry, I'll reply after this row. Wonder if he's even on YouTube. Okay, so let's just settle into the next changeover. Remember, do whatever you do to celebrate another 10 minutes gone. Here we go. So for me, bit of a wiggle. The backside, just get your bottom comfortable on your seat. Because if you're doing this pivot forwards over your hips, rather than having a collapsed posture, you are minimizing the contact between your sit bones and your glutes. However, you are still pressing on one focused point. So that's why I keep suggesting every 10 minutes you have a wee wiggle, take the pressure off those fibers and let another part of your backside bear the brunt. Of course, if you do have a poor posture, like your hips are constantly pointing back, then I do recommend trying to adjust your posture, sit up, tilt forwards, because otherwise, as you try to get that forwards tilt, your sit bones roll and grind over a much larger area of your glutes, kind of like a rolling pin. And that is definitely a one-way ticket to a sore backside. And a very sore backside. I remember the first half marathon I did. This was before I really started to become a technique bore. I was of the kind of the leaning back too soon persuasion. And oh, the pain I was in the next day. Because even at 20 strokes a minute, say this is a 90-minute row, that's 1,800 strokes. Is that right? Yeah. So rolling and grinding over your glutes 1,800 times. Whew. It's bad enough that you're doing 1,800 presses, pushes with your legs, which will also be activating your glutes. Whew. It's funny, I'm in the process of going through the 2K, or the alternate 2K plan that I have on YouTube. Been doing it for a few weeks now, reading transcripts of what I talk about during the rows. Also, that I can make kind of a premium version of the plan. Like the free one will still be on YouTube, but I did this with a 5K. Went through, and by going through what I talk about, kind of helped me put together more of a support to help you through the plan. But it is funny, not only the nonsense I can talk, like 15 minutes on the perfect spaghetti bolognese, but also how fixated I can get on a point, how I can talk about making sure your wrists are flat, and you'll find 5 workouts in a row, I'm like a dog with a bone. And so, trying to kind of write about this stuff in a way that lets you kind of understand the importance, but also not skip it. That's of course if you pay for the premium plan. Otherwise you have to just listen to me talking about it. But what dawned on me when going through it today is that, and this kind of relates to actually what I was talking about, the Merak rowing machine. It's as much as I've become a technique bore and really into all things rowing, it was never the plan. I mean, I started rowing, probably 2002, when I joined David Lloyd's gym in Renfrew, just outside Glasgow. I joined there to play squash. And up until then, all of my squash training had pretty much been on court. I'd maybe go for the odd run, but in fact, it was even before, whatever. Dates don't matter, John, dates don't matter. But David Lloyd was the first time I joined a club that had a proper gym. It wasn't just squash courts. And my coach, who later became my best man, Martin, not the Martin I raced high rocks with, a different Martin. Oh, hang on, message from Ronnie. My apologies to you and the gang. Called it, good, a sensible man. Don't know if you're still here, but you were feeling under the weather anyway. There's no point trying to struggle through to the end and then ruining the next few days of your training as a result. Yeah, so David Lloyd had old model Concept 2s, and Martin was like, right, need to do some conditioning, jump on the rowing machine, knowing that you can destroy yourself on a rowing machine in much more effective ways than just on a treadmill. And so for years, I rowed poorly, but only, I think I'd do 5K was like my long row. I'd just aim for 5K in 20 minutes. And I did get, I think I got 6:52 2K, all based on fitness and poor technique as well. Imagine what I could have done if someone told me what to do. But hang on. One more stroke, and here we go with our 5th chunk. So wiggle that backside. Whoa. And then concentrate on your technique for a few strokes. Try and let it carry on. Or do a few power strokes. Or, like I say, if you need to have a drink or even stop and stretch, you are allowed to. As much as I'm going to try and get to the end without stopping, there's no heroics in suffering, ploughing through, but then being unable to complete the row because you didn't take care of yourself. Just dawned on me. I wonder if there's going to be a bit of a bun fight between me, Jerome, and Robert. It's Robert, isn't it? It's not Richard. Robert. Sorry if it is Richard. I mean, I'm holding steadily about 2 strokes behind the 2 of them. But once we get to the closing stages, I wonder if they'll take off into the distance. Whew. So I just made the mistake of wiping my mouth, and I've now got a sticky hand. I don't want that to suddenly turn into blisters. Anyway, what I'd say actually is that when I did get that 6:52 2K, that was the first time I ever jumped online to see if there was like a community. This is back in the days of like alt-net news groups or whatever. But I did find an old style PHP forum. I think it was the original Concept 2 forum that is now defunct. And I posted on it, just saying hi, new year. Just did a 651 2K, just wondering, like after like months, a couple of months of trying to improve to get there. So I was like, I don't know what to do next. What should I aim for next? And it was the first time I'd ever really been let down when it came to this stuff. Because it's not like I got abuse, but got a bunch of messages saying, oh, maybe try taking the lever off 10, without knowing where the lever was. And just kind of snarky comments. Very unbefitting of a Concept 2 community, if you ask me. But it kind of made me go, oh well, forget about this. We're a bunch of soldiers. I'm not going to come back to this community, and I'm not really going to want to exist in the Concept 2 community. Very strange. But then, I don't know, I think I'm that, as much as I was saying about how in a social situation I'm not that chatty, I'm also really easily driven away by things. Like a sour taste. And I'm very quick to go, nope, not for me. Or if I make a mistake in some way, I kind of want to just go, nope, I'm off bike. Like, I remember being about, I don't know, 6, 7, maybe 8 actually, thinking about it. And we went to, like my mum, sister and I, this must have been after my dad had died, a couple of years after. We went to some kind of Highland show, and there were small, like kiddie motorbikes. I mean, you couldn't get that nowadays. But I was desperate to go on one. Mom, please, Mom. So I loved the look of it. And then she paid, I got on it. I could ride a bike, but I got on it and then, for whatever reason, fell off instantly. And I think, I want to say, the guy running the thing was like laughing at me. But I just remember bubbling up in tears and running away. I don't want to do it anymore. I just don't like, I think I just don't like failure. And possibly I don't like failure through the eyes of other people as well. I mean, I don't think there's that many people that would embrace an embarrassing failure. It's like a couple of months ago, Julie, Holly and I went out for lunch in Glasgow, and as we had plans to go shopping, a whole bunch of stuff afterwards, but as we were walking back, I didn't see that there was a huge pile of dog poo on the pavement, stood in it, and it was weird. It was like, oh, Rowing Rocker, great name. What kind of rock? I'm a Van Halen guy myself. Yeah, a weird sensation. There's Mark Payne. Hello. As I felt my left foot just, or well, whatever foot. Was it left? Yeah. Just go away from me. So I'm like, what's going on here? And then as I came plummeting to the ground and the smell wafted over me, I realized what was going on there. And so, half because I'd kind of fallen in dog poo, but also just because I was mentally scarred by it. I was just like, I just want to go home. I want to go home, shower. I mean, to be fair, I think most people, if they'd gone through that, would likely respond the same way as I did. Possibly, you would have been a stronger mind with the kiddie motorbikes. Whew. I hope we're all feeling okay. I'm fingers are holding up. Can feel a little bit of a like a sting in my ring finger. So I'm really pleased I took my wedding ring off before we started. And my right hamstring is just telling me that it's being used. But apart from that, all's good with me. Okay, we are an hour done. How amazing is that? So, wiggle, reset your posture, do what you need. I mean, this is certainly the longest that I've rowed for this year. But it's also the longest I've rowed for. I think I did at the beginning of last year, I possibly did an hour, but I didn't do a half marathon. So, and then familiar, but as far as the past few years, this is new territory. I actually don't think I've done a half marathon ever since starting high rocks training, which when you think about it, is daft. Because part of high rocks is training your fitness to be able to last in the race for like 80, 90, 100, whatever minutes. And so a zone 2 90-minute row would actually be perfect training for high rocks. But it's really easy to get caught up in the rest of it, that you have to train burpees, you have to train sleds, wall balls, all that stuff. But to be honest, fitness and running, if you've got those two sorted, then you'll at least be able to complete a high rocks. just comes down to performance. Because Julie and I, the one I'm doing in March, I'm doing it mixed doubles with Julie, and I can tell she's a little bit concerned, but I'm like, don't worry about it. You're super fit and you run well, and especially in a mixed doubles, every time one of us kind of runs out of power in like the lunges or something, you just swap. It's incredible how quickly you can recover in the time it takes for someone to do like 6 burpees or lunges, etc. Those two have left me for dust. Where are we at? Just under 6K for me to go. Now what I am going to do is hang around. I'll finish the half marathon, but then I'll do a cool down and stretch and stuff. My plan was to be here for 2 hours, but depends who else is still in the course and really how cold it gets in this studio, because usually 65 minutes into a row and I'd have 2 strips of sweat below me on my mat, but there's nothing today. I do have some beads of sweat on my forehead, but I'm nowhere near as warm, so it's all very good for making sure you don't overheat. I'm a little bit concerned that when I stop, not only will I get cold, but all the sweat, steam coming off me could fog up the camera. So anyway, going back 20 minutes. So I was rowing just as fitness for squash. But obviously squash was the priority, so it was really about working at kind of that aerobic or anaerobic threshold, trying to replicate the same kind of intensity, the same suck really of a squash match. Didn't even do intervals. It was either do a 20-minute 5K or a 2K as fast as I can. Anyway, and then blew out my shoulder. I was never that good at squash. I was fit. I could get to the ball most of the time, but my actual skill just wasn't that consistent in terms of trying to put the ball where I wanted it to be. And so I'd stand on court and just hit the ball straight up and down the wall, trying to get, because if you don't know anything about squash, if you really want to be able to hit a straight drive up and down the wall, as close to the wall as you can get it, to make it further for the other guy to run, whilst also difficult for them to kind of scrape the ball off the wall. But the tighter that you try to hit the ball against the wall, the more likely it is that if you're slightly off, it skids off, comes into the middle of the court, the guy just steps forward, plays a drop shot, you're still at the back of the court, you've lost your point. And so because I wasn't that, I mean, I was good, but I was like 90% consistent, but that 10% lost me matches. So I'd stand on court, hit the ball up and down the wall, and I was a hard hitter as well. I'd melt everything. And then I'd stand in the middle of the court on the tee, because there's like two red lines perpendicular to each other, making the shape of a T. And I'd stand there and do volley figure eights, where basically you hit the ball off the wall onto the side wall, and then you'd kind of go forehand, backhand, doing figure of eights. And I just spend hours doing this. Oh, hang on. I'm never going to finish this story. All right, another 10 minutes down. Woohoo! Reseat that seat. Think about technique. Reset your posture. Don't let fatigue get the better of you. If you can think about posture, body positions, pushing with your feet, then you might find the fatigue actually eases off. That it was quirks, kind of laziness, or even I'd say sloppiness, but it's not quite that. But when you get fatigued, if you start to kind of lose the edge of your perfect technique, then it can be a vicious circle where, because you're rowing with less efficiency, you get more fatigued, which then leads you to row with less efficiency. So even if you can think about arms away in posture, just concentrate on one, maybe two elements of technique at a time. Hopefully that'll let you settle down. Talking about settling down, my heart rate has spiked. So I'm going to take a minute to row without talking, if you don't mind. Well, I hope that was as weird for you as it was for me. Rowing in silence. Who ever heard of it? But you'll notice, or maybe noticed, that my heart rate dropped from 172, which is near my max, down to 152. And I also started to row 2 or 3 seconds faster. Heart rate's climbing again. I might need to start taking pauses. So anyway, damaged my shoulder. Had to stop playing squash. And that was when, because I kept on eating and drinking, I mean, I was, what, 25 at the time? So still being a typical mid-20s male, but not exercising anymore. So I ballooned up to 240 pounds, basically just under 17 stone. Big fella. And then when the photo still pops up, but I proposed to Julie at the top of the Empire State Building. And a nice couple took our photo after I did so. And it pops up on our photo frame every now and then. And there's me in a white t-shirt with moobs and a big moon face. And so when I saw that photo, and I'm standing next to this blonde goddess, I did just start to think, maybe you need to get back in shape. We knew it'd be 2 years until the wedding, so I basically gave myself 2 years to lose about, well, I got down to 12 stone. So what's that? About 70 pounds? No, that can't be right. I was about 16 stone 10, and I got down to 12 by the time we got married. But that was from cycling. I really just started to cycle as much as I could. I even set up a bike on a turbo trainer with a computer in front of me and would sit there playing online poker. So I was literally losing pounds while I was losing pounds. Yeah, and then when about 2013, I was making a TV series about the Commonwealth Games Queen's Baton, basically the Commonwealth version of the Olympic torch. And the presenter of that series, he'd made a program where he rowed to the Atlantic, or rowed to the North Pole it was. And he'd used the Concept 2 to train for it. But now that it was done, he wanted rid of it. So I was like, I used to row. As much as I'm enjoying cycling, I've got really fit legs and wee puny arms. So offered to buy it off him, which obviously he said yes. And then had that in my garage next to the bike. I would kind of skip between the two. But then, hang on, our next change up is coming. I'll take this time to breathe. All right, that's another 10 minutes done. Well done, folks. That's 8 down. Doing so well. Let's see if I can finish this story in about 7 minutes. So I think that's how long I'll be. So, in the kind of the manual and stuff that came with the machine, there was a free trial for RowPro. Now, talking about another piece of software, well, using another one isn't really on, but RowPro, unfortunately, is a bit of a ghost town nowadays. But it was the kind of de facto place to do online racing. And I'd never raced anyone before. I'd only ever raced my own PBs. And again, that one time, I got in touch with the Concept 2 community. I found the grumpy ones, so totally dismissed the concept of a community. Anyway, so installed RowPro, used it for just training purposes, because then I had a good image on screen to look at, not just Concept 2 monitor. Again, EXA is 100 times better now. But before long, I saw the races and decided to enter a couple. And I mean, I did okay. I lost to half the field. I beat half the field. But just kind of, yeah, whatever. And then started to spot team names. Sub 7, Mad, Free Spirits. I thought, oh, they sound like me. Free Spirits. So I joined their community, said hello, started to post my results, and I think it was Dave who got in touch and said, how heavy are you? Well, how rude. Next I'll be asking how old I am. And he said, how old are you? So I said, well, I'm 38, currently 82 kilograms. He said, if you can lose 7 kilograms by the time you hit 40, then with your times as a lightweight, you could be a real contender in the world of online and real world racing. I'm like, all right. And so, kind of threw myself into it, but I enjoyed the challenge anyway, having already been through a weight loss regime. And then started racing, and lo and behold, for the list of rowers, I was starting to become first place for lightweights. Not just for my age. And I started to look at records on the Concept 2 site and realized, oh, so I'd kind of, beginning of the season, I held most of the ranked workout top. Then it was like gradually beaten over the course of a couple of months, but that really kind of lit a fire for the racing side of things. And honestly, once you get the 2K bug, and I don't mean winning races, what I mean is once you get used to training for a 2K and enjoying it, because you really have to enjoy training for a 2K. It's hard work, and you start to really revel in seeing your times drop. You see 7:10 become 7:05, and then it hovers at 7:2 for a while, and then suddenly you duck under. And I mean, I'd wake up, have breakfast, go do a 6:55 2K, then jump on the bike and cycle 15 kilometers to work. So that's the kind of madness that a 2K can really drive into you. But that's basically how I went from just using rowing for fitness to suddenly, well, basically being where I am now, having gone through racing and trying to perfect my technique, to then having a really bad hand injury, which kept me off for long enough that I kind of, not only did I lose the performance, but I also lost that love for 2K racing. Still love the training. I just hate doing a 2K. And I need to fall in love with that again, especially now that I'm 50. One more stroke for me. Whoa. All right. Hopefully, there's 73 of us. Hopefully. I don't know what happens when it comes to logbook. Well, it does Whew. Does Exeter clip out that half marathon and upload it to the logbook, or the fact that I'm now rowing further, does that then mean it's not a ranked, it's not a ranked workout? Because if it isn't, I think Exeter need to do something about that. What we got is Jerome. Well done for, you definitely, around about the time when I said, I wonder what's going to happen, both you and Robert, Robert, oh, my brain, you both put in a kick and just went out without me, but I could see, not that I'm using this as an excuse, but I could see my heart rate starting to climb well before it hit that spike at 172. And I knew that I would have a choice of either chasing you, trying to kind of hold on to the end, or still being able to talk through the row. So now what I really want to do is turn round, but I don't think there's a way to. In Zwift, there's a U-turn button that you can press. Oh, I'll do for my cool down anyway. Yeah, there's a U-turn button that you can press. So if you are in a race and you're finished, you can just go and then do a U-turn, and then you can then cycle past everybody that's still kind of coming into the finish. And that'd be really useful here, because then I'd be able to kind of roll past all of you as you're, like the ones who haven't finished yet, as you're coming up. So here we go then, in 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, and let's hope that I'm connected. Yes, and I'm moving. There we go. Right. I love the RP3, this rowing machine that I'm rowing on right now. The only negative I have about it is it's really loud. So my apologies if you're like, what's he saying? I can't hear him. Now I've turned off the chat window so that I can see what's going on screen. So I'm afraid if you're gonna ask anything mid-row, I'm not gonna see it. I see Charlie Simpson there. Oh yeah, I did. Be Kind, Rewind. That's a good film, actually. That's what, a good 25 years ago. Oh. Right, I do feel like I'm having to shout over the sound of this machine, but on this Robert Austin. Any more shout outs for familiar faces? The first weeks are the hardest. A weekly streak of 5, eh? Don't understand what that is. Have I been on Exeter enough to hit a weekly streak? Maybe. Now, I can't remember what this course is in terms of where the sprints do come up, but I'll try and keep an eye out. I'll let you know whether I'm going to do them or not. So we're coming up for 2 minutes into this row, and so hopefully you are a little bit warmer than when you started, and your body has begun to ease into the rowing motion a bit. And now that you are warmer, you can start to think about your body angles and positions, because you need to be a bit more fluid here when you think about rocking forwards over your hips. So it's always best to give your body a couple of minutes to warm up, get that flexibility into your ankles and your hips. So we'll go through it nice and quick. I'll take you through what you should be thinking about technique-wise. And we're going to think about it from the back of the stroke. So from the point when the handle comes into your chest, that's what I want you to think about your next stroke. So the handle comes in, you do not hold the handle against your chest and pause. Although that has a value when it comes to on the water rowing, because a pause at the back will let the boat glide underneath you. When it comes to indoor rowing, pausing at the back just makes the flywheel slow down, or the water in your tank maybe, that slows or stops moving, and so you don't go as far or fast, and the next stroke feels heavier too. And what you want really for indoor rowing is to keep that flywheel topped up, or the water moving. So no pause at the back, handle comes in and then straight back out again at the same pace, and get those arms nice and straight. And as the hands and arms come away, I want you to reset your posture. So it feels like you're almost sitting up and forwards, up onto your sit bones, and tilt forwards. So that your arms are straight, you're in a forwards tilt before you bend your knees. Because that means that as you come into the front of the stroke, your arms are straight, you're in a forwards tilt, and nothing else is moving. You're already there. It's not like if you lazily went forwards and then rolled at the last minute into the front. So this is where consistency. Oh, what's happened? I seem to have lost my rower. I can see it's there. Come on. Maybe it's so cold the battery's dead, but the monitor on my machine's going. Everyone's leaving me. Come back. Come on. Why are you? Reconnect rower. And maybe you're going to have to just row without me. Come on. You found me? Nope. Well, that's disappointing, because everybody overtakes me. Right. You keep on thinking about what I was just saying technique-wise. I'll try and work out what's going on here. It's not a Bluetooth thing, it's definitely on. Come on. You daft machine. Why is it dropped? Options. It's not that. Change camera angle. No. More people passing me. Close menu. Oh well. Right, hopefully you are rowing nicely on your own somewhere. Because you're now just going to have to look at me sitting in the water. Connections. Connect rower. John's iPhone? No. RP3. Yes. I'm going to fix my microphone because I've got quite nice and warm now. Well, that's frustrating, isn't it? Settings. Close menu. Right. Am I connected? Yeah. Yes, no. Yes. Okay. Oh well. It's G Roche. Oh yeah. Wonder if I'll see anybody that I know as I go back up through the field. Anyway, right, so arms away, rock forwards, bend knees. That means consistency each time you come into the front of the stroke. You know what, I'm going to sprint this just for the sake of it. Or am I? Not sprint, I'll take the pace up. Because this is what consistency does, is it means that all I have to do is think about pushing harder with my legs and more power goes into the machine from my feet. But because my arms are straight and I have this forwards tilt, when I push my feet, I am bracing against the handle more than I was before, which is how the power gets into the machine. And because that kind of hanging brace is more powerful, my pull to a finish is more powerful, is faster, and therefore my handle away and my recovery is quicker. And after all, the handle away is what controls or what really helps stroke rate. One more. Whew. Now I'm going to take it nice and easy. Let my body settle down a little bit. Before I get back into proper rowing again. So, usually the drive speed is round about a second. So, 20 strokes a minute, I am 1 second drive, 2 seconds recover. 30 strokes a minute, I am possibly like 0.8, 0.9 of a second. So not much faster than the drive speed compared to 20 strokes a minute, but my recovery at 30 strokes a minute, that's what gets quicker. That's what goes down to 1 second. And that is controlled by the handle away. So I am 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Does that make sense? It's my recovery that gets faster. And that's the other reason why you shouldn't get into the habit of holding the handle to your chest. Because, again, 20 strokes a minute, let's go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That works to a point, but if I try and get up to 30 strokes a minute, 1, 2, 1, 2, I can't do it. I can't get up to 30 strokes a minute and incorporate a hold of the handle against my chest. So if you are the type that struggles with stroke rate, first thing to look at is what's happening to your handle at the back of the stroke. Keep it moving. And then the front of the stroke, just to finish this off, we lost a bit of time with my machine messing up, but so you come into the front, arms straight, forwards tilt, roll until shins are vertical, and then hold that forwards tilt and straight arms as you push the machine away from you. That's easy to see on the RP3 that I'm using today, because I'm literally pushing it away from me while I stay in the same position. That's why I love the RP3 so much. Like I say, the RP3 has its place of valor in my setup. I love it for technique work. Concept 2 I use because it's the most popular for racing. The water rower I use because it's just so cool. And the Aviron I use because the gamification side of it really does help pass the time. And it's a nice machine. I mean, all 4 of them are lovely to row on as well. So yeah, push the machine away, keep your arms straight and the forwards tilt as long as you can. When your legs are about halfway done, that's when you swing your back, followed by pulling your arms in to a finish, nice and smooth. So that's the technique side of things. If you're unsure about how you're getting on, send me a video. I do free technique checkups. Just email me a video of you rowing side on like this, and I'll let you know what I see. You're not added to any mailing list. You won't get bothered by me and a kind of, hey, you liked my free checkup, why don't you pay me? I don't do that. The real foundation of RowAlong is that I want to just help people get better at rowing, help them enjoy their rowing, help you get a better workout, and that comes from rowing with a good technique. Okay? Good. And that, I will put a line, finally, with 18 minutes to go. No, 12 minutes to go. 18 minutes gone. I won't talk about technique. There's 2 things I want to talk about though. One of them, I'll be really quick, and that is, oh, hang on, there's a sprint coming up again. I'm going to do this one again. It's only 2:50, around about a minute's worth of rowing. So here we go. So I'm at 37 strokes per minute right now. Push that power in with the legs, and then add the power with your backswing, and then your arms. Ooh. Nice. Take a few strokes. Oh, that was fun. Anyway, food. That's what I want to talk about. Because I don't know about you, but the past 2 weeks or so, I have eaten around about a month's worth of calories, and I can really see it. It's like somebody has inflated me. So this is, or last night was the last night of eating badly, and also the last night of any alcohol. And then I'm going to spend the next 4 weeks trying to see how much I can undo by the time it comes to my next High Rocks race on the 1st of February. Speed up a bit. So I am going to post how I'm getting on, so keep a lookout for it. But it kind of brings me on to my second thing. And apologies if this sounds like I'm using it as an advert. Kind of am, but again, you don't have to pay anything. But the one thing that I have found in the 10 years or so I've been taking part in indoor rowing, racing and teams and stuff, and training, is how hard it is to find a training partner, especially if, like me, I don't have any actual real life near me friends who train the way I do. All of my connections for rowing training are online and have been discovered over the process of 10 years or so, being in a couple of teams and kind of looking around on Facebook. But even then, I don't really have a training partner. It's people like Andrew Fielden, who I'll swap data with, or there's like the cross-team challenge, and I've got the RowAlong team for that, which is kind of close, but it's not the same as having someone that I can DM that has the same training kind of aptitude as me, and so we can push each other. So I've been thinking about this for 3 years now, and I finally set it up. It's a website called trainingamigos.com, where you will go to find your training amigo, your buddy. I've already done a soft launch of it to my RowAlong people, so they can have a look around and feedback. But I'm pretty much ready to launch it properly. So you just go on, you register an account, you use whatever details you want, real name, fake name, it's up to you. And if you put down your 2,000 meter average pace, so that's like you row a 2K as fast as you can, divide the result by 4, that's your 2K average 500 meter pace. So if I did it in 8:20, my training pace would be 2:05. And when you enter that, you can be automatically put in to a group of similar abilities, or you can just search for people and connect. It's kind of, tell you what it's like, it's a dating app. It's basically what I built is a dating app, but instead of finding someone for long walks in the park, you're finding someone to share training results, motivation, accountability, etc. And so you can connect as a group, connect as an individual, post in the general forums, or just post in your group or just to each other. And it's kind of set up like a typical social media page. Like, but not like Facebook. Big thing is, there's no advertising, there's no tracking. I'm not harvesting your data for anything. It's just a website to try and connect indoor rowers. I might eventually open it up to like golfers, tennis players, all that kind of stuff, runners. But right now, it's just rowers. So, if you like the idea of this, go to trainingamigos.com and sign up. It's not really got any link to RowAlong. I want to make this as independent as possible so that people from any team want to be part of it. Whether you're sub 7, Fitness Matters, Mad, whoever, Diamonds. Never get the Diamonds on board. That would put the username right through the roof. But yeah. So it's not about RowAlong in any way. It's its own entity. But the one last thing to say about it is that I spent all weekend adding a logbook to your profile. So for people who row and like to see their meters total, then whether you are Concept 2, Water Rower, RP3, Aviron, whatever, you can either scan in a photo of your screen or upload a screenshot from SmartRow or ErgZone, or say you're just on a magnetic rower. that doesn't really connect to anything, you can just add manual entries. And it means it's perfect if you, like me, do some rowing on a RP3, some on a Concept 2, etc., etc. I don't care if it's slightly different meters. As far as I'm concerned, if I've done 3,000 on this, 3,000 on, say, all my machines, it's 12,000 meters regardless. So that's there too, all entirely for free. Basically, I'm using the money I get from Patreon or Patreon and YouTube adverts to pay for all of this, which so far has run to about £800, and that's if you don't include my time. So, trainingamigos.com, I really recommend going to it and then using it. Post, message people, connect, find your training amigo. And with that, we're coming in to a close. I don't feel it's been the most entertaining of workouts today. The hiccup in connection threw me a bit. We lost, what, 3 minutes? 2.5 minutes? Whew. Almost there. All done. So yeah, I was only rowing for 27.5, according to Exer, because of the connection issue. And that 2.5 minutes threw my concentration when it came to technique. And so, lost a bit of time. And that time was obviously the little brain space I have to be a little bit more entertaining than just talk about technique.
So thank you so much for taking part in that row. It was a lot of fun for me. I really enjoyed it, and I was really interested to see how that 1 minute where I just eased off, concentrated on my breathing, just helped my heart rate come right down. So it does show how much of a toll it takes with me talking the whole way through. Hopefully you enjoyed my chat as well. Maybe it got you rowing a little bit longer than you may otherwise have done in order to get to the end of my story. So thank you so much for rowing the 10th workout of the 12 rows of Christmas. I will see you in workout 11. Until then, row well, be well, bye-bye.